Next item is ordinance 11-23, ordinance to amend the Farragut Municipal Code, Title 14, Chapter 4, sinkhole ordinance, to clarify that once sinkholes have been identified by the Planning Commission and have been indicated on their plat or site plan, the appellate body is the Board of Zoning Appeals. This is second reading.
This is second reading, and again, we went over this in detail at the last at the last board meeting. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of Ordinance 1123, and staff also recommends approval of this. This is an example of when you work on an ordinance, you come up with the wording, you use it for a few years, and then you have someone that's not familiar with sinkholes or with the ordinance, looks at it and says, well, I can interpret it this way, and so we kind of just fine-tuned the wording so that we clarified our intent all along and what we had been doing, and that the Board of Zoning Appeals is the appellate body for sinkholes, and that once a sinkhole is designated on the plat, it's still a sinkhole, even if you can't see that it's a sinkhole anymore.
No-brainer, since we passed it before.
I'll move for approval. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is ordinance 11-25. This is also second reading. Ordinance to amend the FY 2012 general fund and insurance fund budgets.
So this ordinance is to, like you said, to amend the general fund and insurance fund budget. The reason for this ordinance is because from the previous meetings, decisions about the one-time contributions and the additional funding for the supplemental retirement plan, only one change from first reading to second reading will be the additional monies in the insurance fund. We're going to allocate all of those to be expended. So that number will change to $524,859. So staff recommends approval of ordinance 11-25, amending the fiscal year 2012 budget on second and final reading, as amended.
In favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? First reading on ordinance 11-26, ordinance to amend the Farragut Municipal Code, Title 9, Chapter 4, sign ordinance, Section 9-406, 3I or 1, off-premises directional signs to clarify trailblazer sign placement locations.
And this is a housekeeping measure in that this ordinance has been in place for several years, and the trailblazer signs are the blue background signs on the interstate with the different logos for interstate traveler type businesses, be fuel services, food places, and now a few years ago they added like we added the museum to attractions. The intent behind this is that when someone gets off the interstate at Campbell Station Road, which is our interchange here for Farragut, is that you see the sign just when you're westbound right at the level road interchange that these businesses are at Campbell Station Road interchange. At the bottom of the ramp there is then another blue background sign with the logos and an arrow pointing whichever direction you need to turn and clarifying how long of a distance you have to travel to find the business. This section of our sign ordinance takes that Trailblazer program one step farther. Campbell Station Road is a local road, and what we do is that if the business that's advertised on the Trailblazer sign is not on the arterial road, Campbell Station Road, that kind of thing, that an additional Trailblazer sign is allowed that tells them where to turn off. For example, the Baymont Inn is located on Campbell Lakes Drive, and there is a Trailblazer sign on North Campbell Station Road indicating that you turn. There was some question as to what this is tied to, and so it has always been interpreted and that it is tied to the Campbell Station Road interchange because that is our interchange. And so the purpose of this amendment clarified that it is the Campbell Station Road interchange and that it actually is meant for businesses that are participating with the TDOT Trailblazer program. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of Ordinance 1126, and staff also recommends approval of this ordinance.
I have a question before we hear a motion on that, Ms. Hawk. I see that the participants pay rent to the town, that the town actually owns the signs. How do they pay that rent, and how much is it?
Every July 1st, we send out a letter and remind them that it's time to pay the rent. And Allison, can you help me out with that amount that we get paid every year? I'm not the dollar person, so I can't remember. I do not know what their fee is with TDOT, but there is a fee with TDOT also, but I'm not familiar with what those fees are. To have your sign on the TDOT's Trailblazer program, there's a fee, but I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we actually collect a rent from them. I was just curious to know how much that is.
50 rings a bell, but I could be way off on that one, and you know, I could have heard something else that said 250, and that's what is sticking in my brain.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that's kind of.
I think it'd be worth $250 to me if I was a business owner to have a sign up there.
It's a good deal. I'll tell you what, those Trailblazer program signs, when they came up with that, that was amazing. You know, and one of the questions that came up at the Planning Commission is like, well, are these things really used that often now that everybody has GPS? And the answer is, yeah, you still do. You may, you know, look at your GPS for some other things, but people use the Trailblazer signs, and they have been found to be very successful.
Yeah, I sure use them.
Across the country.
I think the mileage in particular is really helpful if you're getting off an exit you're not familiar with at all. If you're looking for a certain gas station or fast food place or something, you know, 1.2 miles one way and 0.3 mile the other, I think it makes a difference. I had a similar question along the line of Alderman Markley was, if someone does not pay the fee, I mean, how often are these updated? Do we just white out the name?
If we don't get paid, we take the sign down.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's not specifically in here, but I'm thinking it is 250.
For some reason,
David's looking on the fee schedule.
For some reason, it sticks in my brain, and I can't think why it sticks in my brain. But anyway, yes, we do. We send out a notice at the first of the fiscal year and say, please pay us, and I think they agree with you very much because they normally pay us pretty quickly. In fact, some of them pay us before we even have to send out a letter because they know that it's due.
How many do we have up there? There's only 3 or 4, isn't there?
Yeah, we don't have many. Because it's only applicable to businesses that are off the main drag. Because if you're on the main drag and you know you get off the ramp and it says turn right, okay, I'll use Holiday Inn Express because it's right on. You turn
You're
right
looking
on
at
Holiday
it,
Express.
yeah.
You're looking at it. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of obvious.
Okay, I was just curious. Not a big deal. I don't want to hold up the meeting. We can figure that out later. So I make a motion that we approve Ordinance 11-26.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is Town Administrator's Report.
I have nothing to report tonight, Mayor.
And Town Attorney.
Report.
All right. We are adjourned. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.